Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun. We're analyzing Mishnah Zion and Perek Gimel of Maasros. Yesterday we talked about Mishnah Yomi. We talked about the idea that if it's not Nigmar Malachta, right? We always say there's two ways to be chayiv in Shumas and Maasros fully. They can't snack from it anymore. Either is Nigmar Malachta, it's fully processed, or if it's not fully processed, you bring it into your Chatzer, where you be prepared to eat from it, right? So therefore, that once you're prepared to eat from it, that shows you have ownership over it. Hashem said before you have ownership over it, make sure you take a Shunas and Maasros and give to the Kohen Levim and Aniyim. So that was talking about a chutzah that's part of your house. This Mishnah Zion, talks about non-permanent structures. Let's say you go camping, or you have a teepee, or a non-permanent structure. So the Mishnah makes clear, unless it's something you live in for 6 months, right? As long as you live it for the whole summer, even if you don't live it during the winter, that's considered, no, we don't pass Rabbi Yossi yet. 6 months is enough. And I think this is generally the rules when it comes to certain rules about tax, right? If you're a permanent resident of a country, when you live in that country for 6 months a year, 6 months is considered to be living there the whole year. So what is this additional requirement that it has to be a house that you live in for 6 years, for 6 months? Why is that important over here? Technically, if I go to a non-permanent structure, go camping, it's my own tent. Why is it not called bringing it into my Chatzer? So the idea is, I think, is that even though people would say the opposite, I think this is really true, that when you're going on vacation, a lot of times these non-permanent structures are when you go on vacation. When you go on vacation, you want to live a better lifestyle. That's what I believe. If you're going camping, camping, you usually have a barbecue. You have marshmallows. When at home do you have marshmallows, roasted marshmallows? It tastes pretty good. You have a nice barbecue. I made a barbecue last night. On George Foreman, I tried to make a barbecue. We had a lot of people over. I used my George Foreman. It was a big George Foreman, the bigger size, but it's an indoor one. It's not an outdoor grill, And I tried making hot dogs on it. I made like 100 hot dogs. Literally around 100 hot dogs I had to make. It took forever on the George Foreman. It took me 3 hours. I literally stood my feet for 3 hours trying to barbecue this stuff. It came out pretty good, but then the steaks, the good stuff, I wanted to show off my chefmanship, my way of making a steak. I'm skilled at doing that. And the George Foreman, which goes much quicker. By that time, the kids were making my wife crazy, so I had to just make for me and my wife. I let someone else make the steaks for the rest of the people. They didn't like the steaks they made. That's unfortunate because they're expensive, the steaks, but my steaks came out pretty good. But listen, you want to have, when you have a barbecue, you have hot dogs. Some people, hot dogs are a treat for them. Barbecued hot dogs, steak. So you want to have a good time on vacation. So when you want to have a good time on vacation, you're not going to eat something unless it's nigmar malachta, unless it's fully processed, unless it's something that when you're living somewhere, let's say you live in your house, right? People go to the camp. They want you to go to camp for 2 months. So they have fancy food in the cafeteria. I remember when I was a kid, when I was younger, I was a waiter in Camp Rasha. They had an unlimited supply of chocolate milk. I remember me and my friend, we drank so much chocolate milk, and they had great food also. French toast, pancakes for breakfast. When you're at home, you don't make French toast and pancakes. Usually, you have cereal. So you're more likely to eat less quality foods when you're living in a place permanently. So therefore, here we're talking about where the foods are not nigmar malachta. It's nigmar malachta even before you bring it into your house. You chayav shumas and maasros. You can't snack from it. Here we're talking about low nigmar malachta, and you're bringing it into your house. It has to be a permanent structure. If it's a permanent structure, and you live there for 6 months, it's considered a permanent residence. So then you're more likely to sit down to a meal for things that are not top quality. Even if it's not fully processed, you'll sit down to a meal for it. However, when you're snacking on vacation, you're going to want something that tastes better, that's more fully processed. And therefore, it's not considered sufficiently in your buy list that you're going to start eating from it. And therefore, you can still snack from it, even if you decide to eat from it, because it's not the norm. It's not the norm to eat from that. Normally, you want to have higher quality foods. Now, we're talking about going to tents, but think about going on a vacation to a hotel or something like that. You get fancier food. So vacationing, you want to have a higher quality of cuisine than when you live in your house year long. That's the explanation I'd like to say over here. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.